Good morning, you guys. Welcome back to the channel. So today I just thought I would take you guys along with me and Parker. We're just hanging out. It has been a whirlwind since we got back from the cabin trip. Like a day or two after we got back, we had to pack up my Nampa and pack up the U-Haul and do all of that. And Joe and him headed out across country, as most of you know, because I posted on the community wall. So it was just like, it was a nice relaxing weekend at the cabin, but we kind of knew in the back of our mind that we had a lot to do when we got back. So we got him all loaded up. We got a U-Haul truck and Joe rented a trailer and they pulled my grandpa's vehicle across country. And then after they left, I had to go in and clean my grandpa's apartment, like top to bottom, to make sure that management can come do a walkthrough and we could get our deposit back that we paid for him. So that was a lot. And after that full day of like packing and cleaning and everything, Parker was hungry and I was like, I'm not cooking. Like, I'm just not cooking. Like, so I didn't have anything thought out. Like, I'm like, let's just go to Chick-fil-A. We'll just go grab Chick-fil-A. So we grabbed Chick-fil-A and I had some grilled nuggets with a side salad because Joe and I started the keto diet again about a week ago. And I'm actually really excited about that, you guys. I've lost 5 pounds in 7 days. And I know most of that is water weight and like inflammation. But I just can't believe how good I feel in just 6 days of being back on keto. Keto, as most of you might know, is like a really low to no carb diet. Really only getting your carbs from healthy carb sources, like from your vegetables and things like that. So it's cutting out all the crap. It's cutting out all the bread and the cereals and the cookies and the crackers and all the things. And it's really meat and vegetables and maybe some fruit here and there. And it's really like ancestrally, it's a natural diet that I don't know, the energy has just gone through the roof. I was feeling very fatigued before, really crappy. My mood was down. And since I've been on keto for just this last week, like I feel a lot better. But yeah, so I took Parker to Chick-fil-A and we ate dinner and we came home. And you guys, tell me why. I get up at 1 o'clock in the morning with like severe nausea. I was like, oh, no. If there's one thing I don't like, it's throwing up. I hate throwing up. And I'm like, you know how it is? Like, I'm like, do I have food poisoning? Because I felt completely fine before Chick-fil-A. And then after this incident, I felt completely fine. So I'm like, oh my gosh, it must have been something I ate. It's like 1 o'clock in the morning, y'all, and I was in the bathroom. I didn't know if it was coming out this end or that end. I didn't even know what was happening. I was extremely nauseous. But anyway, I took some antacids, finally laid back down and fell back asleep. I woke up the next morning and I felt totally fine. So I'm just like, maybe it was my body too, like just a lot of stress. It was, man, it was super emotional seeing my grandpa off. And you guys know me, you know my personality. I'm really, I don't want to say controlling. I'm just very organized and meticulous about the things that I do, like the way I take care of my home, the way I take care of my children, the way I take care of my finances. Like, and my grandpa was no different. Like the 5 years he lived with us, I took care of him, like everything. If he was having issues with the doctor, I would go with him to the doctor, make sure he understood what was going on. Like, I pay his bills, all the things. If he locked himself out of his accounts on his phone, I would go reset his passwords, all the things that he couldn't see or really understand how to do. And it's just bittersweet to see him go. To be truthful, I don't know how promising this job opportunity is that he was supposedly offered in California. My grandpa worked a business for 50 years. He owned a business in California for 50 years, very successful business. And I think when he came over here to Virginia, he expected to recreate that business here. But the problem was his age, almost 90 years old, and he didn't know anybody here. So restarting a business, like, you were successful in California because you had the connections in California. You had established business relationships with your vendors, your contractors. But starting over here, people just really didn't want to have anything to do with it. So that was kind of frustrating. He definitely went through some depression, and I tried having conversations with him like, Nampa, I get it. Like, you're a working man, but maybe it's time for you to sit back and relax, enjoy your grandchildren, like hang out with our family. He's getting Social Security every month, so it's not like he doesn't have an income. He actually does pretty well with that. So it was just like this ongoing thing for 5 years, and I've actually never talked about it. You guys see my Nampa sometimes like on my social media. You see it occasionally in some videos and things, and I've talked about how he is here with us. But it's been a struggle because, like, mentally, I think he was like trying to recreate something that once was, and he was unwilling to accept the fact that that chapter in his life is done. So it was like one of these things. He wanted to create a business when he got here, like an LLC. I helped him do that. I used my own money to do that, paid for the business license. He wanted business cards, like all the things. And just to turn around like a month later and him get cranky and pissy that, it wasn't really working out, and asked me to cancel all of it. And I was like, all the paperwork I did to start the business, the name, the LLC, the money, like, you just want me to cancel it? And he's like, yeah, cancel it. It's not going to work out, whatever. So I canceled it. And then like 6 months later or a year later, it was as if he forgot that we had done that. And he started talking about, well, maybe I should just start my own business here, create an LLC. And I'm like, I didn't say anything because I learned with my Nampa, a lot of times he's just thinking and he comes up with these ideas. And if I don't really entertain it, it goes away and he doesn't really do it. It's just thinking. And I came home and told Joe, I was like, I cannot keep doing this. Like, all these ideas and things that he would come up with that he hadn't really thought through were labor intensive to me and Joe, running around, doing paperwork, spending money, doing all these things just for him to turn around and change his mind. And I'm like, I'm not doing this. And the biggest factor, you guys, was his inability to physically do the work anymore. It was like he could not accept the fact that he could not physically do the work anymore. His back, his spine is just riddled with arthritis. He can't really see to weld properly and do the things he used to do. So it was just like, I was trying not to be like a dream killer, but at the same time, my role in his life, other than loving him to death as his granddaughter, is to be his advocate and to make sure that he's being wise with his decisions and like thinking clearly. And I've noticed as he's getting older, he's starting to do some things that just don't really make sense. So it became quite frustrating. He was actually offered several jobs here in Virginia, like I want to say like 5 or 6 jobs that he turned down for the dumbest reasons. Like, oh, it's a 20-minute commute there and it's a 20-minute commute back. I'm not interested in driving 40 miles every day just to go to work. I was like, where we live in Virginia, you're going to drive that far anywhere you work. Everything is spread out. And I'm like, but you want to go back to California, where everywhere you go from where he lives is like 30 to 45 minutes because of the traffic? I'm like, so he just had these crazy reasons. And it just kind of dawned on me one day. I was like, I don't really think he wants to work. Like, I think it's just this inability to accept the fact that that part of his life is over, but maybe he felt like he needed it to look to everybody else like he was looking for a job. I don't know. I just don't know. So this is my thought process, and I'm rambling. I'm sorry. This is a little bit of a rambly video because I'm getting my thoughts out, and I've never really talked to you guys about my grandpa, and it's tough taking care of like a parent or an elderly grandparent. It's tough sometimes. So my thought process is this. He is in a year lease at the apartment in California that we've got him in, and I don't think that it's going to work out for him there. I think that he's got this these grand ideas that he's going to go back to California and be able to reignite this business he used to have and these jobs. But people are already telling him because of inflation, they're actually laying people off and not hiring. Like, it's not looking good. And I think he thinks that it's going to be like the way it used to be. Like, I don't really know. I think he like demonized Virginia. Like, it was just Virginia. And it's like, did you forget why you left California 5 years ago? Like, all the reasons you didn't want to be there anymore. It's kind of like having a baby, right? We get excited about a new baby and we kind of forget the pregnancy sometimes, like the nausea, the morning sickness. We forget the pain of delivery because all we're thinking about is that little baby. It's like he forgot about those things. So I honestly do not believe he's going to be able to get a job over there. The only good thing that will come out of him being back in California is he will be able to go see my Nana's grave whenever he wants to. But I think as we get closer to that lease ending, I'm going to touch base with him and I'm going to see what his thoughts are on just coming up to Alaska with us, because I don't want him to die alone in California. I don't want that. I love him so much, you guys. And it was like super emotional seeing him go the other day. I hugged him and we both started crying, and it is really going to be a challenge to manage him from Virginia. I'm afraid of him getting to California and someone taking advantage of him, getting him into something bad. People are just horrible, and I'm not there to protect him. So we'll see where this next year goes. We can build him a guest cabin on the property in Alaska if that's what he wants to do. But I've actually talked with our contractor up there who has his mom in a senior living center, like not a nursing home. It's like an apartment complex for senior citizens only. But the really cool thing is they have staff on hand 24 hours a day to make sure he's taking his medications, to help him with this. They've got like a little community hall where everybody can play cards and bingo or whatever. And he needs that, you guys. He needs interaction with people his age, guys that went to the same war he did, where they can shoot the shit and talk stories. Like, he needs that. And my dream would be for him to be in that kind of environment where we would be 45 minutes from him in Alaska if he wanted to go to a center like that, a senior living center. So we could still come see him. He could still drive. He'd still have his car. He can come see us, have him over for birthdays, holidays, all the things. I think that would be a better life for him than sitting alone in California in an apartment, sitting at my Nana's grave all the time. I don't know if that's going to be mentally healthy for him. So lots of thoughts, obviously, going through my brain. I know that things will work out the way they're supposed to, right? That's the way life goes. God's got a plan for him. God's got a plan for us. All I can do is do my best to be there for him and make sure that he's taken care of, and try to be that voice of reason when he's about to jump off some crazy cliff. And I just hope that someone over there doesn't have more of an influence over him than I do, because I know that I have his best interest at heart. So super emotional. But Joe and Nampa made it to California in 4 days. They left on Friday. The time of this recording, today's Tuesday. So they made it last night to California, and they're checking Nampa into his new apartment this morning, and they got there safely. So I'm super happy about that. Joe's gonna get him all packed, set up, show him where the laundry room is in the apartment complex, show him where to get his mail, all the things. And then they've got to go down to DMV and register Nampa's car in his name, because when we bought it in our name. And so we need to get that registered in his name in California. And then they have to go to at the DMV. While they're there, my grandpa has to try to change his driver's license over to California. So that's another stressor. So when he came to Virginia, I was mind blown that he didn't have to take a written test. He didn't have to take a driving test. He didn't even have to do a vision test. And he was like 84 or 85 when he came here to Virginia. They just like transferred it, gave him a Virginia license. I'm like, well, that was easy, but is that safe? Like, I don't even know if the guy can drive anymore. So California is much different. He has to do a driving test, he has to do a written test, and a vision test. So I tried to get him the California DMV handbook like 2 months ago, so he could start studying up on the laws, how, you know, what's the safe following distance, all the things. And he immediately, after flipping through it one time, was like, oh, I don't need to do that. I've been driving there for however many years, 50 years, and I remember the laws. And I'm like, I said, Nampa, let me tell you something. If you can't get a driver's license in California and you can't drive yourself around, what are you gonna do? Like, you need to study this. You need to try your best to pass it because you need to be able to drive. You know, he still does his own grocery shopping, goes to doctor's appointments, all the things. I'm like, you need to be able to drive or you're gonna be Ubering it, and that's not gonna be cheap. So that's another stressor. They're probably gonna be going down to DMV tomorrow or the next day. And I'm like, I just don't know what that looks like. So we shall see. Then they've got to go to Social Security, get his address changed over. And then after that stuff is done and he's settled, we bought a plane ticket for Joe, a one-way ticket, and Joe's gonna be flying home. So it just feels weird. It feels weird not having him here. And I feel guilt because there's a part of me that feels a sense of relief, just that I don't have to do the tedious tasks of dealing with like his crazy ideas and let's start a business, let's cancel it, let's do this, let's cancel it. You know, I've told him a million times, like, stop messing with your passwords, like your email, your bank account, like all the things. I have those passwords because I pay his bills, and about every 3 to 4 months, he fat fingers it. He's in there messing around, tries to change his password, gets himself locked out, and I have to go over there and sit there for 2 hours and reset all of his passwords for him. And I'm like, can you just stop messing with the accounts? You don't need to be in there doing that, so why are you doing that? And it's causing frustration. Like, I'm having to redo these for you every 3 to 6 months. The other thing was like health insurance. You know, he watches TV, he's got a Facebook account, so he sees these ads and stuff about health insurance, like, oh, we can give you a quote and you can get a better deal. And it's like, when he first moved here, he was like, can we call around, hun? And we need to check and see. I think I'm getting raked. I think I can get a better plan, a policy, a cheaper one, and blah, blah, blah. And I would sit down with him, you guys, and call Anthem, Cigna, all these health insurance companies and get these quotes. And I did that like at least twice since he moved here. And they tell us, sir, you've got the best plan you can get. Like, he's got Medicare, he's got these other supplemental insurance companies. And so I finally got to the point where, and it's like he forgot, every 3 to 6 months, I'm not kidding you guys, every 3 to 6 months, I would get a text from him and he would say, hey, hun, when you have time, do you think you can come over? And I saw this thing on TV and I think I'm getting raped. I think I can get a better deal. Can we call these companies? And I'm like, you don't realize when you do that, you have to cancel one policy, restart another policy, then you have prorations, which inevitably they screwed up, then there's a discrepancy, then I have to call and fight the company. It's like, I finally was like, no, stop. You have the best plan you can have right now. Every time we call around, that's what the different companies tell you. Stop. Like, you are covered. It's not that expensive if you compare it to these other companies. Like, you're good. Like, stop. So I am relieved that I'm not going to have to deal with those things anymore. And I feel guilty that I feel relieved. I don't know why. Like, I didn't want him to go, but you guys, I'm like, you know, raising Parker and homeschooling Parker and working my real estate business and all the things I do, those kinds of things that were labor intensive to me, that were unnecessary, that was all the time with him for the last 5 years, was very stressful for me and Joe. So I'm going to do my best to advocate for him from Virginia and then from Alaska when we get there. But I am hopeful that in a year, give him a year, let him see that California is not what he thinks it's going to be. Let him see that he's not going to be able to get a job there like he didn't get a job here. Let him have a year to visit Nana's grave. Let him just sit in that. Like, I think he had to do this. And I couldn't have talked sense into him. I couldn't have talked him out of moving to California because he was not going to hear it. It's like telling a teenage kid, don't date that boy. You can't tell them that. They're not going to hear you. They have to see it for themselves. So he needed this, but I really believe and I really hope that in a year he's going to come to his senses and go, hey, hun, you know, I think I'd rather be up in Alaska with you guys. And then we'll go from there. I'm just hoping that he'll do that so that I can make sure he's taken care of in those last years of his life. I can make sure that he's taken care of properly if he's physically next to me versus like states away. So that's my hope. I don't know, you guys, but they are there safely, and I'll keep you guys posted on my Nampa. I know a lot of you think he's super adorable, and he is. I love him so much. He was kind of like the father figure I never had. My dad was never in my life. My Nampa was, and he was like the father figure I never had. And good man, good hardworking man, loves with all his heart. And Parker is super sad that he's gone. Parker bawled his eyes out when Joe and them drove off in the U-Haul. And it's been hard for Parker. In 1 year, he lost his sister because she moved to California, and now he lost his Nampa. So it's hard for a 9-year-old to understand that, but we're hanging in there. Today, I just have a couple quick errands to run. Joe forgot to take the title to my grandpa's car. So to go to DMV, he's gonna need the title to get that switched over. So I'm gonna run down to UPS and get that sent out overnight to Joe. And I've got a gift for my mom, so I'm gonna get that mailed out to her. And then today, Parker and I are starting our annual testing. So you know, in Virginia, it's a requirement to do annual testing for the homeschoolers just to show that the kids are making progress. I've done a video on that before. If you are a homeschooler here in Virginia or anywhere else and you're interested in seeing what we do for our annual testing, I'll link that video for you guys. But we just use Set and Testing online. We order the test, it gets mailed to the house. Parker and I usually spend 3 or 4 days going through each subject, and then you mail it back. They grade it, and then they give you the results, and you provide those results to the school board. So I'm excited because this is our last year that we're gonna have to do that. Alaska does not require annual testing for progress. Alaska's awesome. They're like, those are your babies, you do you, boo. You don't have to file a notice of intent to educate your children. Like, that's the way it should be. Like, that's my baby, not the government's baby. So I'm really excited about that. But we're gonna start his testing today. And then I promised Parker that if he was good, we might go to the pool for a little bit. I can't wait until we're in Alaska and I can just open the door and let Ollie out to go to the bathroom. He really liked being at the cabin last weekend and just having like the freedom to run that property. So that's gonna be much better. I'm looking forward to that. Thanks, P. All right, so I went into my FedEx account and created a label to send this title to Joe. And it was $67 to overnight it through FedEx. And I'm like, what? So I'm gonna run into UPS to see if they can get it there any cheaper, because that's a lot of money.
About to see the world in action, what we can be, life with no distractions, we'll get away. This is what we waited for. Take my hand, we'll make it somehow.
Holy cow. So I went into UPS. They can't ship it for any cheaper. This little envelope that's like half an ounce, maybe a little bit more than that, but all that's in there is the car title. $67 to get it from Virginia to California by tomorrow. Gotta do what we gotta do. I told you, I'm like, that's a very expensive mistake you made, Joe, not taking the car title. All right, so I got the FedEx dropped off. It's so cute. There's this little old lady in there, the cutest old lady pushing her cart. And we're like walking side by side up to the register. And finally I was like, do you want to race? And she was like, yeah. And she grabs her cart and she starts zooming to the register. And I was like, oh, look at you, you're fast. She was so cute. I just love old people.
Take my hand, we'll make it somehow. We can't miss out. not looking back. Eyes on the freeway, Bonnie and Clyde, a classic cliche. We're on the run. This is what we waited for. Oh, yeah. Take my hand, we'll make it somehow.
So the balcony garden is actually doing really good. So the two things that did not do well were my spinach. I even replanted them and they just didn't do well either. I'm not really sure why. Don't really have the energy with everything else going on to figure it out. It's like, whatever. And the zucchini are big and beautiful and they're flowering, but they're not producing zucchini. So I'm pretty sure that I'm having a pollination issue. I do not see a lot of bees around here and they need pollination. And I've also read that in the hotter heat, in the hotter temperatures, a lot of times they'll just produce male flowers. And so I just don't think they're getting pollinated properly. So it's a beautiful plant, but I'm not sure if I'm gonna get any zucchini off of that. All right, so here's Parker's testing that we get from Seton every year for his, to satisfy his requirement for Virginia for the annual testing for progress. So we go through Seton testing online. I've shared this with you guys before. Comes with a label here to send it back when we're done, some instructions. This is his bubble sheet where he's gonna be putting in all of his answers as he's testing. And then this is his little book here with all the questions for all the different subjects, language arts, math, and so on. And then it comes, of course, with the teacher book or the parent book. So it kind of tells you exactly what to do for each step of the testing. So it is super easy, you guys. This is it. This is all there is to it. You can see this is not very thick at all. So we can probably knock out his testing in a day or two and then send it back and we'll be good to go. All right, so just like last year, they have this broken down, all the different subjects. We have reading and language arts, mathematics and science, social studies, vocabulary, language mechanics, spelling, and mathematics computation. So you're gonna fill in the bubbles for each section that we're doing. And just remember, like last year, you need to stay in the lines and fill it in nice and dark, okay? So this is gonna be your bubble sheet. Then do sample A and stop when you're finished with sample A. So you're gonna read this here and then tell me which one of these answers you think it is, and then you're gonna bubble that in over there.
Okay, runners are getting faster all the time. Roger Bannister.
I'm done living life with the lights out, die with my own doubts. Be free with me. Be free with me.
All right, so we just finished his part one of his language arts, and so he's getting a little break now, and then we're gonna come back here in a little bit and do part two. So I actually have a counseling appointment in about 20 minutes. I told you guys, Joe and I have been doing couples counseling with this Christian place that has just really done amazing things for us. And, getting married so young, this Christian counseling center, working with me and Joe together, and then we have our individual sessions. It has just worked wonders for us personally and giving us the skills and things that I really wish I would have had when I was 17 when we got married. We didn't know what we were doing. We didn't know how to be married. So this has been super helpful. And then for me personally, I've got the tea kettle going. I'm gonna make some tea, so that's what that sound is in the background. But for me personally, growing up without a dad, let me step out of here, that's actually loud, kind of in a dysfunctional setting, I've never really dealt with a lot of the things from my childhood. So I used to think that counseling was for wimps. I don't know. I used to think like, I don't need to talk to somebody. Like, how's that gonna help me? It has helped me tremendously. Just work through some of the trauma, some of the triggers, skills to get through some of the emotions, and just the sadness sometimes that comes along with dealing with the past. So I've got that counseling appointment. It is virtual. We've been doing Zoom for about a year, which is actually totally fine with me. More convenient. I can do it right from my home. I don't have to get out and be around people. I can just do it from my bedroom. So I really like that. So after my appointment, we're gonna finish his part two, and then we're probably gonna head out to the pool for a bit. I'll put the link in the description for this video for Byron Teas if you want to check them out. They have like herbal infused honeys, all kinds of stuff. And if you're looking for a great gift, they have like these gift packages of different teas and all kinds of really fun stuff. So check it out. How's your testing going, P?
Good.
You doing okay?
Yeah.
You doing all right?
Mm-hmm.
Having a snack?
Rishi.
A super unhealthy snack?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you got a better metabolism though, buddy. You're a little kid. You can get away with it for a while. All right, you guys, so we just got done with part 2 of Parker's language arts testing. Gosh, okay. I feel like I need an afternoon cup of coffee, but I told Parker we would go to the pool, so I think I'm actually gonna save my coffee for later because it's too hot outside. I don't wanna drink coffee by the pool. So we're gonna change out. We're gonna go catch some rays and chillax for a little bit. And then the only thing I have left to do today is I need to run by the grocery store and pick up some things for the rest of the week. I've done really good this week with my cooking for keto. I've cooked at home every night for dinner, kept it simple while Joe's gone, but you know, stuck to the diet, so I'm super proud of myself. But I am running low on a couple things for meals, and then also I need some fruit and yogurt and stuff for Parker. So we're just about done with this day. I'm super happy that we got done with his first section of testing. It's kind of like, you know, we just mentally know, like, once this is done and this goes out in the mail back to Seton, like, we're done for the summer. Cannot wait. All right, you guys remember when I did the Amazon favorites video a couple weeks back and I was sharing with you my little bathing suits I got from Amazon that I really love. You probably saw a little bit of that when we went to the cabin getaway last weekend, but this was the little cover up that I told you about. It is super cute. I really like it. It's just, you know, I don't like to walk to the pool in my bathing suit. You know, it's a cute little way to cover up, and it's a little see-through on the side, but not too much. And it's black. I really like it. It's adorable. P. Diddy, going swimming?
Yeah.
All right, so here we go. The pool is like within walking distance, obviously. It's right up by the main office. So surprisingly, we've only been there like twice since the pool opened, but we've been so busy with everything. The cabin trip and then Nampa moving to California, it's just been nuts. So, and poor little Parker, he wants to go every day, all day. So I'm trying to squeeze in like an hour or two here and there when I can. But it is relaxing when I get there, so I always enjoy it. Yeah, go for it, buddy. Woo woo. Yes. Yeah. Summer 2022. Last summer in the heat.
Yeah, baby. On my very tippy toe.
Can you reach right there? Barely?
Yep, right there.
Oh, that water looks so beautiful.
Yeah, can't reach the bottom right here.
Does it feel good?
Yes, get in.
Okay,
Can't
I will.
reach the bottom right here.
You can't reach it?
But at least I know how to swim in the deep
I
end.
know.
Oh.
So this is what I kind of do. I sit out here in the shade and like I'll read a book or something, reply to comments on YouTube or Instagram and stuff while Parker swims, and after I get hot enough I'll jump in. But it's so funny, you guys, I cannot handle laying in the sunlight. I have to be in the shade. I tan really well. I'm not really somebody that burns, but like I've shared with some previous videos, I used to lay out a lot when I was a kid, and I just know that it's not good for your skin. And if I could go back and do things a little bit differently, I think I would. So I try to always put sunblock on and always sit in the shade, wear my sunglasses. A lot of times I wear a hat, but just trying to protect myself from the sun. But I will lay out sometimes for 10 or 15 minutes just because vitamin D is very good for you. So I think there was about 50 something questions on that language arts and reading section. Not too bad, but we could have done more and went into math, but Parker's like brain, he gets fried and he gets where he can't sit still. So I'm like, why? We don't have to return the testing until I think the end of June. So we have plenty of time. And so we're just going to do like one section, maybe 2 sections a day if they're small sections. And then when this is done, we're done with 4th grade. It's so hard to believe that we are done with another school year. I think what I'm going to do for this fall, I was thinking about when we start 5th grade, because we're going to be traveling. We're going to be on the road heading towards Alaska, like right around the time that school starts for this next year. So I think what I'm going to do is probably start Parker in school probably like September. We'll see. I don't know. I say that and then I'm like, but we're going to be packing. I don't know. My point is, I think the month of October, we're going to be taking off of school because we're going to be traveling. We're going to be driving across country, going to be on the ferry, stopping to see some sights and things like that. So instead of stressing about trying to fit in lessons along the way, I think we're just going to travel for the month of October, get settled in the cabin and used to the new property for a couple weeks before we dive into 5th grade. All right, so we are back from the pool and I'm thinking that it wasn't a good idea to plan grocery shopping after sitting out at the pool. Duh, like now I don't feel like it. So I think I'm gonna save my grocery shopping for tomorrow. Parker and I are just gonna tuck in tonight, maybe make a simple dinner like a yummy chicken salad, something light and cool because both of us are a little hot right now. But that's gonna be the end of today's video, you guys. Thanks for hanging out with us today. And don't forget, Friday night, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we are doing a live stream to celebrate 40,000 subscribers on the YouTube channel. How exciting is that? So be there or be square. Bring your favorite drink, coffee, tea, wine, beer, whatever you like to sip on, and let's hang out.